Hi everyone, welcome back to Mouth on the Matter. If you're new here, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and let's get right into this. So, on today's agenda, we are talking about Big Ethel Energy. Guys, I really love Big Ethel Energy. I really love Big Ethel Energy, and I think it deserves more hype. I'm talking as if it does not have like 19 million subscribers slash watchers slash readers on it. It's really popular. It's really popular, but for some reason, I think it's really underrated, and I feel like people don't talk about it enough. I do think that this its popularity is helped by the fact that it's attached to like the Archie comic universe and such. But don't get it twisted. Don't get. I know you're like thinking, oh, guys, Titi, what do you mean the Archie? Because I know there's a bad taste in your mouth from the CW Riverdale. I know it. I know, but don't get it twisted. This is very different. This is not your CW Riverdale. This is not what it is. I don't know what I was expecting coming into the webtoon and reading the webtoon, but it is surprisingly a gem. I did not expect explorations into like adolescence, fatphobia, being a good ally, dating culture. That was not what I was expecting, but that was what I got. And it's a gift that keeps on delivering. So the things that I do like about the webtoon, I like the art. You know me, I'm not picky about arts. I'm not picky about arts at all. And the art is pretty good. The second thing I do like is that I like how they chose Ethel as a character. I thought that was a very interesting choice because Ethel was by no means in the older comics was she ever like a main character. From what I remember, Ethel definitely wasn't like a main character of any kind. I just remember her being like boy crazy, especially towards Jughead, who obviously did not reciprocate most times because it was Jughead. I do remember her trying to like entice him because she was really good at baking. She was really good at baking. Um, entice him with food and stuff because Jughead likes food. From the older comics, I do remember Ethel not being drawn like cute in a way. I don't think she was meant to be. I think she was tall, she was gangly. I think she had buck teeth if I remember correctly. While when the comics did get like more modern and everybody got like a sleeker edit, she was drawn a little bit cuter. I do think in the comics she was just meant to be like boy crazy. She means well. She's a late bloomer type kind of girl. I think her attraction to Jughead was kind of played as a joke because it was like, I mean, first of all, it's Jughead who's not reciprocating anything, but also it's like, oh, it's you, it's Ethel, that kind of thing. So I think it was very interesting that they picked her as the main character and, the namesake for this webtoon. And I think her characterization in the older webtoon comics is something that they definitely took inspiration from for the Big Ethel Energy webtoon. Ethel talks about how she wasn't really liked when she was in high school and she didn't really fit in. The person she was closest to was her teacher, Miss Grundy, and she was a little bit of a pariah back in high school. When she got back to Riverdale, everybody kept telling her like, "Wow, she looks so good," in a very like surprised way. Like they didn't even recognize her. Like Archie, seeing her upon her return, was reintroducing himself. Like, "Oh, hi, nice to meet you. My name is Archie." As if they had never met before because he did not recognize her. She talked about how she was nicknamed Big Ethel by Veronica because of how much taller she was, which, by the way, that nickname was in the older comics as well, but it started getting retired around the 1980s, which and they probably nicknamed her that in the older comics because she was drawn as tall in the older comics. Webtoon, I thought, as well as being tall, is also fat in the webtoon. I think this is a very interesting choice to make, just because we know that height, being tall, and being fat are not traits that make you desirable under like Western white femininity. So I think that was a very interesting choice to make and definitely adds to her experience of not feeling desirable, her dating experience, her insecurities, and her rejection as well. Okay, so let's do a rundown on the characters. Obviously, we have Ethel. She is currently working as a journalist in New York, and she only came back to Riverdale because she was offered a bit of money to like come back and do a story about the town. I mean, a book about the town by the town's mayor. I love Ethel. You can't. You could. Ethel could do anything in this webtoon. Although she hasn't, she's not a problematic character, but she could do anything, and I would stick beside her. You can't. I love me some Ethel. Next character is Betty. She is currently a biomedical student who's also working at a greenhouse type place that sells plants. Her knowledge of science helps her with the job. In this webtoon, she's very like ambitious, which is how she was in the older comics. Ambitious, very smart. She's juggling a lot of things in this webtoon. So Archie in this webtoon is a college dropout who also lost his job as well. He's not really jiving with the idea of going back to college to get his degree. His parents are encouraging him to do that, but he's not really feeling that. He's slowly reconnecting back to music. He did have his band back in high school, the Archies. That is something that's also very true to the original comics as well. I don't really like the character that much in the webtoon, but I do have a bit of sympathy for him because all this academia job, his passions talk, like his talk about going back to school and not really feeling it, and not feeling his job and being like cut from his job, and like obviously having a passion for music, but feeling like, oh well, this is not going to pay anything, this is not going to do anything. That hit me a little bit too uncomfortable. That was a little bit too close to home. So while I don't like the character, I do have a little bit of sympathy for him. So we have Moose. Moose, he is the assistant coach of Riverdale High School football team. He's great. Love me some Moose. Love me some Moose. There's very much himbo energy. Love him. I love the way they characterized him in this weapon. Very cute, very sweet, very caring. Um, Not a misogynist for the most part. Really sweet. And as far as I can tell, he always treated Ethel well. He always treated Ethel well. I love this character. That's not something I can say for any of the other characters. Even Betty. I don't think I can even say that for Betty. That she always, treated Ethel well. I think she did, but I'm sure she was complicit in, some things. Even though she didn't directly do anything, she probably didn't call out her friends for treating Ethel badly. That kind of thing. So we have Veronica in this webtoon. She is a rich, ignorant social media influencer right now, and she's getting like trolls and stalkers in this webtoon. It makes sense for her character, I think. Definitely makes sense. The art, her being a social media influencer, makes sense. She's still rich in this webtoon. She's still living a very good life. Only thing I would say is like, why are you in Riverdale? Why are you in Riverdale? Instead of you to go to all these places, go to LA, go to New York, go to San Fran. Like there's so you can go to Paris. Why are you in Riverdale? Why are you in small town Riverdale? Instead of you to take your millions and go. No, she said no. Let me stay in Riverdale. Next we have Jughead. Jughead is like rich now. Jughead is like very rich. He is some food YouTuber. He also made this app that made a lot of money. He did sell out his share though. He sold it out to his co-founder. He's like rich. He's very rich. He made bank. Like I think it really makes sense. He's like obsessed with food. He loves food. So this career path of his makes too much sense to me. I do love how they developed this character. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. Finally, we have Seth. So Seth is Betty's boss. Betty kind of has a little tiny little crush on him. Let me tell you guys, I love me some Seth. I love Seth. And I love Seth for Ethel. Personally, I am a I love love triangles. Give me everything. I know you guys don't like them. I know you guys don't like them, but I love triangles. So you can't take that away from me. So me, while I love Moose, bring Seth on. Bring Seth on to the roster. I love episode 40. Episode 40, I was giggling, I was screaming, I was like kicking my legs in the air. It was like wow. Wow, 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 wow. So here are the major plot points that happened in Webtoon, and just some of my thoughts. The first one that kind of encapsulates like the relationship and the dynamic that Ethel has with Archie's gang is when she worked at the movie theater, and they had asked for free tickets because people who are friends with people who work there get free tickets, and they had asked her, and she had assumed that they were also asking her to come along, and they didn't. They did not. She had assumed. She had assumed. And I mean, okay, fine, fine. Assumptions, blah, blah, blah. But still, and it was so harsh and it was so mean. And they were basically like, no, this was just for us. Like, no, we didn't want you to come with us. No. And here's Veronica and Jughead laughing in the back. Hee hee ha ha. No, I would have taken that personally. I actually took that personally. I was reading that and I had to reread it for this video, and I got mad all over again. You're not getting those dirty stinking tickets from me. You would not have gotten those. I was like, oh yeah, I need to use the bathroom, and you see me again. You see me again. You pay that full price. If you have Veronica there, Veronica can pay. Why are you asking for free things, Veronica? Why are you asking for free things? You would not have gotten those tickets from me. That's all I can say. That was so crazy to me. That was so crazy to so unhinged for no good reason. You guys should have just have lied and gone along with it. Especially seeing as the cinemas are is not like the movie is not like an interactive thing. It's not like a thing where you have to be so engaged with the people that you come in with. No, you just come in, face your front, watch the movie. It's the most you can say is, "Oh, you're my armchair ledge. Can you move?" Or, "Oh, can you pass your popcorn? I'll just take a bit." Like, I felt that here. I felt that in my heart. I did indeed. No, that was painful. That was actually very painful. The second point we have is her coming back to Riverdale for the book she's writing on it. Anything that has to do with this book, I'm not interested. The history of Riverdale, all the little searching thing. I wish they could have actually, I don't know. I and here's the thing. I know it's needed for like her reason to come back to Riverdale. So I know it has to go. It's a necessary like plot point, I guess. But for me, it just slows down the pace of the book and it slows down the flow of it, and for me it like decreases the enjoyability of the webtoon personally, because I'm not necessarily interested, but hey, maybe there's some people who are interested in this plot points. I'm very much more interested in all the hijinks the characters are doing in the webtoon. I don't really care about the history of Riverdale, but I understand that it's a necessary like thing for her to get from New York to Riverdale. Okay, so the third plot point we have is Veronica getting cancelled online. She had said something like fatphobic when she was a teenager, and of course, like I said before, she's a social media influencer. I think it makes sense, and I think it's a very interesting development that they picked for her. I think it's something that she would definitely would have said and done. Like she's rich, she's white, she's thin, she's pretty, she's insanely privileged in every single facet. So I think it makes a lot of sense for that to have happened to her. So I enjoyed that. Fourth thing that we have is Betty working at the nursery as well as juggling like her exams and her relationship with her boss. Like I said, Seth is her boss. I think it's very fitting for Betty. She was always very like ambitious, always very smart. I like the nursery because I love her boss. Like I said, love me some Seth. Seth and Ethel in Seth's car after he had like drove her home. He drove her home. He gave her a ride home from Veronica's party. That whole scene, inject it. Inject it in my veins. Inject it in my veins. Plaster it on my forehead. Tattoo it on my skin. That entire thing. I'm a Seth girl. I am. I am a Seth girl. I'm also a Moose girl. Don't get it twisted. But I'm a Seth girl. Okay, so the next plot point we have is the homecoming game and all the misunderstandings that led to it, because there were so many misunderstandings. The first one was, so Ethel's friends had set up like a picnic for, for them, for Ethel and for Moose, because they had seen Ethel and Moose together. They were like, okay, there's something cute here. There's a little spark going on. So let's have a picnic. Let's see what's going on. And so Moose had mentioned Keely. Keely is his co-worker at Riverdale High. She's a teacher, and he had just mentioned how, oh, she's a cool teacher. She's a good teacher. And Ethel, being this possible saboteur, which I get. Like I said, I'm a stick beside her. I love her regardless. She immediately goes like, "Ooh, Moose and Keely," like that kind of like in this shipping way, which was it annoyed me. But I understand why she did it, but I was like, Ethel, why? And her friends were also annoyed. They were like, why would you do that? Why would you say that? So the second misunderstanding that came on is Moose wanted to take Ethel to like the homecoming game, but he didn't know how to ask her. So he was getting advice from Keely, and Keely kept blowing up his phone when Ethel and Moose were at the movies. So she's rightfully kind of like, wow, like someone's trying to reach you, like damn, you guys must talk a lot. You guys, they probably like each other. They're talking a lot. She's texting him a lot. So that's what she thinks is going on. But truly, what's actually going on is she's like asking for updates. She's like, okay, have you asked her? Have you asked her? How's it going? How's the whole thing going? How's the movie day going? Like, what's going on? But she's like, damn, like, wow. Okay, they must like each other. That's what's going on right now. The third misunderstanding that happens, that Ethel overhears Moose practicing with Keely on how to ask Ethel out, and assumes he's taking Keely out to the homecoming game. He basically heard her ask, like, "Oh, would you go to the homecoming game with me?" So that's what she hears, and she assumes, oh, he's talking to Keely, but no, he's actually like practicing his lines to say to Keely to say to Ethel. So that whole thing was so annoying. That whole thing was actually really. This is what our third misunderstanding. This is our third misunderstanding. So that's what happens. The fourth misunderstanding is that Seth brings corsages for Betty and for Ethel, because Ethel had asked Seth to come to the homecoming game with both of them, and then Moose sees Seth giving a corsage to Ethel. This is our fourth counter. So that's what happened. But it all ended well, which was great. Ethel ran out to the pitch and they kissed. It was really, really good. We love that for them. And when Ethel was kind of like pulling back in the relationship when they officially started dating, just because, like I said, I completely understand, like, her past with men, her dating insecurity, all of that. When that was happening, she sat down and kind of like explained her like anxieties and her insecurities, in relationships and things like that. And yeah, it was very, very cute. Very, very cute. Love that for them. So they're together now. And yeah, I love both of them. So they're great. The sixth thing that happens is that someone stalks Veronica, goes right up to her window, takes a picture of her kissing Reggie. And this is important because she has a boyfriend in some other state, some other town. So her and Reggie's happenings, they're very on the low. Very on the low. No one's supposed to know. um and she was getting cancelled online. And honestly, I think people in the comments were kind of missing what was going on, and why. If it has like a really young audience, I don't understand, but like, I think people were like, oh wow, yeah, encouraging cheating, or Betty's encouraging cheating or whatever. Like, that's not what's going on here. I think what's scary about, like, what the point is and what's so scary about all of that is the fact that someone came up to her house and took a picture of her when, in a moment of vulnerability, in a moment of what, like, she was not expecting that to happen. That is very scary. That is very violating. That, like, that whole privacy thing, that is very, very odd. Very, very scary. Very, very strange. So yes, she cheated on her boyfriend. Very bad. Very, very bad. But honestly, it's one of those things where I don't know. Maybe I'm the problem, but like, in interpersonal relationships with like celebrities and stuff, it's like, what's my business? That kind of thing. I more so care about, like, you know, human rights and stuff. I more so care about if you are genuinely like a, like, if you would hate crime, that kind of thing. So that's my thing. Like, are you racist? Are you sexist? That kind of thing. So that's my, that's me. Are you all the isms? Are you all the phobias? That's my question. So all that interpersonal stuff, like, let's say, oh, they're rude to like someone. That's, I'm like, oh damn, like, they're rude. Like, okay. I treat it more as like salacious gossip more than like, oh, like, this is a cancelable kind of thing. Because I understand that some people just have off days, but cheating is different though. Cheating, you don't like, cheating isn't like, oh, I just had an off day. Cheating is very different. Cheating is like, especially because Veronica had been cheating, this is a continuous thing. But again, it's the kind of thing where it's like an interpersonal thing. So it's like, what's my business? Like, I treat it more as salacious gossip. Like, oh my gosh, like, that happened. No way. Like, wow. Like, it's like, like, my little intake of pop culture for the moment, not more so like something that deserves to be cancelled. I don't know. I don't know. It's a weird one. It's a weird one. I think context definitely matters. Context matters because, don't take what I'm saying that I'll apply to every single situation, because sometimes it can be a little bit like, oh, but yeah, that's that whole situation for me. I just thought it was very like privacy, like violatey, so I didn't really like that whole thing for her, and I felt really bad for her. That doesn't mean I'm condoning her cheating or anything like that. I just think the whole situation surrounding it's like, someone coming up, imagine someone coming up to your window taking a picture of you posting it online. That's scary. I don't know where to look now. I don't know how to move. I don't know how to operate. I don't even, very scary, very odd, very strange. So the next plot point we have is Ethel conducting an interview with Trula Twyst, who is Jughead's old co-founder for that app that they did. She didn't want to have an interview with Jughead, so she found the co-founder, and it was great. They had an interview, jived well. The only thing I will say though is that while I am glad for the gossip that Trula brought, her relationship with Jughead, that was very interesting. I did in fact enjoy reading all of that. um I do think it's a little bit like, why would you say all this to someone you just met? Because remember, she just met Ethel. So this whole telling Jughead secrets, telling your own secrets, honestly. Well, I mean, I guess they're not secrets, but telling your business to like someone you just met, someone who's a journalist, although it is off, off the record. It is off the record, but like still, I was kind of like, what's your game here? Like, why are you saying all of this? Very unprovoked. Like, why are you saying all this business between you and Jughead? Very unprovoked. Like, Ethel did not ask. Ethel did not know. She was not in the know about. Ethel just came to get her story, get the history of the app and whatever, and dip. She was not looking for your relationship. So I thought that was very suspicious. I don't know if it was just me. I don't know if that was intentional, whether they made her suspicious on purpose, or maybe I'm just like, why would you say your business? Just like unprovoked. Unprovoked, why would you say all that? It wasn't meant to be intentionally like suspicious. I will say though, I would not like to have a friend like Trula Twyst. I would not like to have a friend like Trula Twyst. Because while she's very good for like gossip and stuff, because she will tell things to you unprovoked, I feel like you just be thinking like, damn, I need to keep her at an arm's length, because what if she's going around telling my secrets or my business? But yeah. Okay, so the last plot points that we have, where we've all caught up, at least I've caught up to like the current episode that's out for non-fast pass readers, is Betty kissing Seth and Seth rejecting her. I'm fine with this for two reasons. First one is, number one, Seth was right. It is a little bit unethical for him to, kiss his employee. It makes the whole relationship weird. It's unethical. There's a power imbalance. Like, I get it. So me, I'm fine with that too. I'm fine. I understand she's a little bit emotional here. She's allowed to be upset about being rejected and stuff. Like, no one wants to feel rejected, but like, that's the situation. And honestly, like, what if he just didn't like her? That's life. That's life. Like, even without the whole power imbalance, like, what if he just didn't like her? So this one about Veronica and Betty being upset and calling him a jerk. That's life. That's life. Like, he may just not like you. What if you like if there wasn't the whole power imbalance thing? Like, he's allowed to not like you. He's allowed to just not like you. I guess she's allowed to be upset though. I guess like damn, like I really liked him and he didn't like her. But then at some point you just have to get out your feelings. But this happened immediately after she was sad, she was in her feelings. So I'll give it to her. I'll give it to her. La, la, la. Second reason why I'm okay with this is that I kind of want Seth for Ethel. Yes, I love this little moose Ethel thing, but again, like I said, I want all my girlies to have all my main characters. They deserve a whole roster of love interest. I know you guys don't like love triangles. Me, I love love triangles. I love them. In fact, I wish I could have like a love octagon, love decagon, love. I wish, like, especially for my marginalized girlies. So I'm talking my black girls, like girls who you don't really see them in fiction getting that kind of love. If I could have a love decagon, they would have it. They would have it. They would have it. One thing that many amounts of um love interest, like, you're going to lose the quality of like your work, because you're not going to be able to get to know like 10 people. It's not going to be possible in depth. It's not going to be. So okay, I can settle for like two or three. I can settle for like two or three love interests. But yeah, so I'm fine with that. Really interested to seeing how Seth and Ethel's relationship plays out in the future, because there's something there. They would have put in hints for me if there wasn't anything there. So yeah. Things that I didn't necessarily like enjoy. I think the hodgepodge of hearing from different characters can get a tiny bit distracting, just a tiny bit distracting. The jumping from characters to characters is not as cohesive as I would like it to be. And again, there are certain plot points I could do without. That whole, again, the whole entire history of Riverdale, I could do without it. I know it's the reason why Ethel is back in Riverdale, so I know it has to be there. But I do hate that plot line because it's not doing anything for me. It's not doing anything for me. Um, so yeah, I love a lot of the plot points. So I think I love majority of them. But I do feel like sometimes it flows really well and sometimes it doesn't. Just because again, there's a mix of things. There's like there'll be flashbacks here. There'll be like pieces of history here. There'll be the modern time here. So it's a lot. It's a lot. It can be a little bit like not cohesive, but again, I do love majority of the plot points that are going on, so I'm fine with it for the most part. But sometimes I do feel like I'm skimming through the parts that I don't like just to get to the good parts, which I do like. One more thing is that I felt like they could have leaned into Ethel being quote unquote not cute or unattractive or whatever, because everyone was so surprised seeing her when she had grown up. They're like, oh, is this you? Like, you look so pretty now, yada yada yada. So I think they could have leaned into that more in the way they drew her, just because younger Ethel is still a very cute girl. She is still a very cute girl. So I'm not seeing what they're seeing. I'm not seeing what they're seeing. Call it maybe bias because I like Ethel and that's the vantage point we're seeing the story from. But I'm seeing a younger Ethel and I'm like, this is a cute girl. Like, I know kids are vain, but I don't understand what would have made them like not like Ethel or to exclude Ethel, because young Ethel is very cute. So maybe if they had leaned more into like, I don't know, her dorkiness or whatever, like I would be able to like see it, but I didn't see it in the webtoon. Yeah, however, while I did say all of that previously, I do think it's such a great read. It reminds me of all those like romance contemporary books with those covers. You know those ones. I call them those Canva covers books because of those like graphic figures they have. They're like those romance books. They're very like hallmarky, just a nice, cute little read. So that's what it reminds me of. I really like Ethel. Again, she seems so sweet. I love this character. I love the way they approached her. And I think she's absolutely beautiful. Episode 40, absolutely beautiful. I get her self-sabotaging. I really do get it. When you go through life feeling undesirable, it's going to be ingrained in you. So honestly, no qualms about her rejecting advances or missing like hints or stuff like that. It fits the character and it's very realistic. But yeah, I really do like the character. I really like the webtoon, and you should go read it. But yeah, so that's it. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.